Hello friends, welcome to the Voice of the World. I'm your host, Khushbu Raleigh. Twitter forces user to delete the tweet highlighting Hindu victims of Godra massacre, days after it refused to block fake news. Users have accused the platform of deliberately censoring posts that highlight the Hindu victims of the Godra massacre. Amir Khan shelves Mahabharat amidst controversies because now is not the right time, he says. Miami-based art collector sells 10-second video artwork for $6.6 million. It brings focus to NFTs and the value of digital assets. New book documents the journey of three men who created history by becoming the first gay throuple to become legal parents. Three Dads and a Baby, a book that details the journey of three men to have themselves listed as parents to a baby, is all set to be released on 9th of March. The book has been written by one of our fathers, Dr. Ian Jenkins. The three men from California created history in 2017 when they became the first family in history to list three fathers on a birth certificate. Central government gives a nod to Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram Airport in Ayodhya, sanctions Rs 250 crores. The Union Ministry of Civil Aviation has approved the state proposal to develop an international airport in Ayodhya. According to reports, the Union government sanctioned 250 crore for operation of ATR-72 aircraft in the first phase. Yogi Adityanath said that about 1,000 crores have been allocated to the district administration for land acquisition for the airport, out of which central government has disbursed Rs 250 crores already. Alexandria Cortez, a popular left-wing politician in US, rips into New York Police Department for employing 75,000 robotic dog named DigiDog and says that the move is racist. New York Police Department is utilizing a test robot, DigiDog, in low-income neighborhood, usually dominated by non-white people like African Americans or Hispanics. Therefore, AOC termed move to use dog DigiDog as a racist in the series of tweets on Thursday. Priyanka Gandhi wants to give taxpayers' money to housewives for free, a law to nullify CAA. On Tuesday, Priyanka Gandhi announced that housewives shall get free cash to the tune of Rs 2,000 each month if the Congress parties voted back to power in Assam. She said this while addressing a rally in Tejpur in Assam. The Congress party, which has lost ground in the state, is now trying to regain power by vowing to give taxpayers' money to housewives for free. She has also promised to bring in a law to nullify the effect of Citizenship Amendment Act in Assam. She has assured voters of creating 5 lakh jobs, increasing the wage of female tea garden workers to Rs 365 per day, and providing free electricity of up to 200 units. The elections for 126-member Assam Assembly will be conducted in 3 phases, starting from March 27, while the voting for Phase 2 and 3 will take place on April 1 and April 6 respectively. The results will be declared on May 2nd. Earlier, Congress dynast Rahul Gandhi expressed his hate for Gujaratis and said that he will take money from Gujarat tea traders and give them to the tea garden workers in Assam. For Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah, both Gujaratis, spill on the people of Gujarat, Rahul Gandhi claimed the Assam tea workers get paid Rs 167 per day wage while the traders in Gujarat get tea gardens. However, Rahul Gandhi did not provide any proof to back his claims. BJP leader and Union Textile Minister Smriti Irani slammed Rahul Gandhi for his comments and said, "I want to challenge Rahul Gandhi to try Gujarat if he has guts. I also challenge him to contest polls from Gujarat. That will clear all his misconceptions. Kayla McEnany, former press secretary under Trump administration, said that she wished Biden press secretary Jen Psaki well on the way out of White House. Karl Rove, an American Republican political consultant, policy advisor and lobbyist, said that there is plenty of evidence of massive border crossings under Biden administration. Facing recall, California Governor Newsom blasts Abbott for reopening Texas. California State Auditor reveals embarrassing Newsom admin failures. The report gave a list of recommendations that the California Air Resources Board (CARB) should implement for better data collection in measuring the progress of its incentive programs. CARB has been accused for not doing enough in the reduction of greenhouse gases. Report says that CARB has not collected sufficient data for determining whether its transportation programs have been achieving their specified aims of helping to reduce the greenhouse gases. CARB has done little to measure the extent to which its incentive programs lead to emissions reductions by causing individuals and businesses to acquire clean vehicles that they otherwise would not, the report said. CARB overstated the greenhouse gas reductions its incentive programs claim to achieve. It is unclear by how much these reductions have really happened by the use of these new vehicles. California might fall short of meeting its 2030 goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions to 40% below 1990 levels, unless the emission reductions occur at a fast pace. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki has refused to describe the surge of unaccompanied migrant children at the US-Mexico border as a crisis. But she repeatedly used that label when talking about issues during former President Donald Trump's administration. As arrests of the migrant children illegally crossing the border have steadily climbed under the Biden's administration, Psaki has repeatedly declined to address the situation as a crisis. Psaki also won't say why Dr. Seuss was dropped from Biden reading proclamation. Dr. Seuss' book was dropped from the Read Across American Day, the annual celebration of reading in honor of legendary children's author. While Biden followed the presidential tradition in proclaiming Red Cross American Day on Tuesday, the March 2nd, Dr. Seuss' birthday, he bucked his predecessors by leaving out any mention of Dr. Seuss from the proclamation. When asked during the White House press briefing Tuesday why the president left out Dr. Seuss, punted to Department of Education, the proclamation was written by the Department of Education, and as you could certainly speak to them about more specifics about drafting of it, Psaki said. But Read Across America Day, which is your right, has not existed forever, has only been around for a short period of time, elevates and celebrates a love of reading among nation's youngest readers. Psaki also said the day is also a chance to celebrate diverse authors whose work and lived experience reflect the diversity of our country, and that's certainly what they want to celebrate and what they hope to do this year. BJP sweeps Gujarat local bodies and Congress loses even bastions. BJP claimed victory in all 31 district panchayats, around 200 of 231 taluka panchayats and 75 of 81 municipalities which went to polls. China proposes free travel to US based on recognition of COVID-19 vaccines. Chief epidemiologist of Chinese Center of Disease Control and Prevention, Wu Zuan, said China and US should work jointly to lift mutual travel restrictions in August or September when the US is expected to reach herd immunity, suggesting priority to be given to official business travel and overseas study. Wu explained his proposal to the state-run Global Times on Tuesday, saying that the free travel plan between China and US should include mutual recognition of vaccines and limit free travel to those who are vaccinated. This is the first time Beijing made out a case for mutual recognition of vaccines for free travel without quarantines. US is likely to vaccinate around 80% of its population by June and 90% by August, reaching the herd immunity, Wu said on Monday at an online forum about US-China collaboration on COVID-19 prevention and treatment organized by Washington-based Brookings Institution and Tsinghua University in Beijing. Gorbachev, the last Soviet leader, marks 90th birthday on Zoom. US sets sanctions over Russia opposition leaders' poisoning. The sanctions were the first against Russia by Biden administration, which has pledged to confront President Vladimir Putin for alleged attacks on Russian opposition figures and hacking abroad, including US government agencies and US businesses. The Biden administration announced sanctions of Russian officials and businesses on Tuesday related to the poisoning and jailing of opposition leader Alexei Navalny, whose detention drew tens of thousands of protesters out into the streets of Russian cities in winter. The Biden administration also announced sanctions for 14 businesses and another enterprise, most of which it said were involved in production of biological and chemical agents. Pakistan court grants bail to Christian man arrested about 5 years ago on blasphemy charges. The Lahore High Court on Monday granted bail to Nabil Mashi, who was 16 years old when he was arrested in 2016 in Kasur city, some 50 kilometers from Lahore, on a complaint filed by one person of the same locality alleging that he has shared a blasphemous content on a WhatsApp group. He was charged with the offense of injuring or defiling a place of worship with intent to insult the religion of any class and deliberate and malicious acts that intended to outrage religious feelings of any class by insulting its religion. The forensic report proved that the alleged blasphemous post on WhatsApp group had not been generated by Mashi, who was juvenile at that time, his lawyer said, adding that the legal requirements for the registration of the FIR on the blasphemy charges had also not been fulfilled by the police. Nigerian governor says 279 kidnapped schoolgirls are freed. The girls were freed a few days after gunmen had abducted the girls from the Government Girls Junior Secondary High School on Friday. Calls for Andrew's resignation mount as third accuser emerges. Andrew's resignation calls intensified late Monday after a third woman accused him of offensive behavior, saying he touched her face and back and asked to kiss her moments after they met a wedding reception. Amazon Prime apologizes for Thunder. They say, "We respect our viewers' diverse beliefs and apologize unconditionally." Biden administration is undecided on ending Trump-era's H-1B visa ban. In January, the then President Donald Trump had extended the ban on issuing new H-1B visas till March 31, arguing that the country is having a very high unemployment rate and the US cannot afford to have more foreign workers. His successor, President Joe Biden, has revoked dozens of executive orders of Trump, including several of those related to immigration, like lifting the Muslim visa ban or those related to green card. The one that imposed ban on issuing H-1B has still not been lifted. It will expire on March 31st if Biden does not issue a fresh proclamation. As a result of Trump's ban on issuing green cards, as many as 120,000 family-based preference visas were lost, but this came as a boon for issuing employment-based green cards, mainly those on H-1B visas. Thousands of Indian IT professionals who painstakingly waited for their green card received their legal permanent residency as a result in the last few months of Trump administration. India is sending humanitarian assistance to drought-hit Madagascar. India is sending consignment of 1,000 metric tons of rice and 100,000 hydrochloroquine tablets to Madagascar. The humanitarian assistance is being delivered on board Indian naval ship Jalswa which will leave with food and the medical assistance on March 3rd. Gut fled on CNN's Chris Cuomo saying that he can no longer cover his scandal-plagued brother. Elizabeth Warren, a liberal, proposes a wealth tax on ultra-millionaires. Now that Democrats control the White House and Congress, President Joe Biden and other party leaders are pushing to spend big to revive the economy and address income inequality. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, Washington Rep. Pramila Jayapal, and Pennsylvania Rep. Brandon Boyle want the ultra-wealthy to pay for it. The three Democrats unveiled the Ultra Millionaire Tax Act on Monday morning. It would levy a 2% annual tax on the net worth of households and trusts between $50 million and $1 billion, as well as 1% annual surtax on assets above $1 billion for a 3% tax overall on billionaires. The controversial proposal, which is co-sponsored by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and others, is similar to one Warren pitched in 2019 as a Democratic primary candidate. Taxing the rich served as a primary way for Warren and Sanders to fund their plans to expand healthcare coverage, childcare, and other proposals when they were vying for the primary nomination. 3 female media workers shot dead in Jalalabad in what seems to be the latest wave of targeted killings. Reports say the women aged 18 to 20 were killed in 2 separate but coordinated attacks. 4th was critically hurt. 6 books have been withdrawn over hurtful and wrong imagery. Dr. Seuss. 6 Dr. Seuss books will no longer be published because of racially insensitive imagery, the company that preserves the author's legacy has said. Among the 6 children's titles being withdrawn are If I Ran the Zoo, Scrambled Eggs Supper, McEgleet's Pool, and On Beyond Zebra. These books portray people in the ways that are hurtful and wrong, Dr. Seuss Enterprises said in a statement. It said that the decision was made after consulting experts and teachers. Ceasing sales of these books is only a part of our commitment and our broader plan to ensure Dr. Seuss Enterprise catalog represents and supports all communities and families. The other books affected are To Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street and The Cat's Quizzer. The announcement was timed to coincide with the anniversary of late American author and illustrator's birthday. US presses Ethiopia to end Tigray violence and protect the civilians. US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken on Tuesday pressed Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to end hostilities in the northern Tigray region, citing a growing number of credible reports of atrocities and human rights violations and abuses. Biden withdraws Tandon's nomination to be White House budget chief. President Joe Biden on Tuesday withdrew the nomination of Neera Tandon to be his budget director in the first Capitol Hill rebuff of one of his nominees after her selection ran into stiff opposition over tweets that upset lawmakers. With global births expected to decline, experts warn crisis looms. While the global population is still growing, a major study from 2020 predicts it will peak in 2064 and then fall by nearly 1 billion people by the end of the century. The number of babies the average woman in US is expected to deliver has dropped from nearly 4 in 1950s to less than 2 today. As the world stampeded towards 10 billion people, many researchers back then predicted that overpopulation would ruin the humanity. Biologist Paul once explained the threat as population bomb, the title of a book he authored in 1968. Sometime in next 15 years, the end will come. By the end, I mean an utter breakdown of capacity of the planet to support humanity, he said in 1970 broadcast. US is already below so-called replacement level by some measures, meaning fewer young people to support country's otherwise aging population. US condemns arrest of 47 Hong Kong pro-democracy activists. The activists and lawmakers arrested for the second time since January have been charged under the controversial national security law imposed by Beijing last year. Pentagon concerned by UN report indicating possible North Korea nuclear repossessing. North Korea might repossess nuclear fuel for bombs, and this activity could raise tensions with Pyongyang. And that's all I have for the news today.